Building a greenhouse on our land feels like bringing a dream to life, but it hasn't been easy. Our first 3 years here were all about infrastructure and basic needs, but this year we're finally focusing on the garden. Come along as we finally make our dream greenhouse project a reality. This area is probably the most neglected part of our land, but it's where we always knew we wanted a greenhouse. It was really exciting when Farmer's Friend agreed to work with us on this project. Before they came, we had the ground leveled so the greenhouse would have a flat base. And one day last summer, their team came to our land and installed one of their high tunnels right in the middle of what we hope to make our potager garden. Because it was already nearing the end of summer, we turned our attention to other projects and promised ourselves we would complete the greenhouse before the next growing season. So here we are, trying to make good on that promise.
Today I'm starting on the front of the greenhouse so that it can be completely closed in. It's the first sunny day and warm enough day to get outside that we've had in a long time. So I have all these plans, but today I'm specifically going to work on the doors, which is this side. They're going to be kind of complicated, but that's the first step to getting this project done.
What's exciting about the making of these doors is that we are able to use leftover materials from old projects to make them happen. I took 2 stains from previous projects and mixed them together to create a color that looked more like what we were going for. The windows will be made out of a polycarbonate that was left over from a cabinet I built this time last year. It has been sitting in our shed ever since, and I cannot wait to finally get it out of there. When Farmers Friend came and installed the high tunnel, they installed an end wall on the backside, but we agreed to leave the front open so we could customize the front how we wanted to. They left us with their DIY end wall kit, which comes with a bunch of hardware that allows you to frame out the front. You can either cover the front with plastic and put your own door in, or do what we're about to do. The first most important step was getting the bottom piece of wood really level and attached to the frame. That way everything we built would be attached to that piece, and then when it was also level, everything would be nice and square. This part probably took the longest, making sure everything was just right. But once we got the first stud up attached to the top of the greenhouse, everything kind of followed a little more easily. We are planning on putting 2 windows on the front, so now I have to frame out a space just for them. One thing I've been putting off until right now is taking the plastic off of the greenhouse so that I can reach the screws underneath and lift up the track. This is the only way that you can get the parts on the pipe as you're supposed to frame out the front. In the end, it worked out just fine. I just took my time taking off the wiggle wire and the plastic and making sure not to take off too much, just exactly what I needed in order to reach the screws underneath. Even though we had our land leveled up here, it's still not perfect. So there are gaps underneath one side of the greenhouse and underneath the front. So I'm going to put a piece of wood that closes that gap, and it will also provide an area for the front siding to sit on and make installing it a lot easier. All the framing of this wall is pressure treated wood because it's all going to be exposed. After spending days working on the doors and then even more days working on the front, it's really exciting to come to the point where we finally get to install the doors. It's truly the moment of truth because even though I've measured a lot of times and everything was custom made, I still worry that somehow they aren't going to fit into the space perfectly. But it looks like I measured right because everything fits perfectly, and I'm very happy about the way they turned out. There's a lot of hardware going on these doors to make sure that they can open just at the top or they can open together. And one of the doors can be anchored to the greenhouse to keep them both closed very tightly. A few weeks ago, we traveled far out of town to buy 4 food-grade IBC totes. These will be the basis of the rainwater collection system for the greenhouse.
So sometimes you just want to do a relatively simple task like unload your trailer, and it involves a whole lot more. Our truck, which was recently given to us by my stepdad, I think something's wrong with the transmission. It will not go backwards. And it is stuck, and now we have to use our 1-ton van to pull it out. Can it do it? We don't know. So stay tuned. So this was attached to the truck, but we had to take it off and move it by hand. Just set it here just to get it out of the way. Okay.
You gonna pull us out?
It's easier to roll them on. Basically,
So I just realized that one of these IBC totes has a different substance in it than the other. They're all food grade, but it has something called maltose in it, which the other ones have fructose in them, which is a sweetener, but it's really thin. But this one is like thick, sticky, almost like glue. I mean, it is a sweetener, but it is very different texture than the rest of them. And this IBC tote, when we were pushing it, was so heavy, but it didn't sound like anything was in there. But now we know that there's something in here, and it's very thick and gooey. So what I'm going to do is not connect this one to the other ones, because we're gonna have to bring the power washer out to do this another time. But I'm still gonna hook up the other 3 so we can at least be collecting rainwater.
I'm making custom parts for each IBC tote to connect them to each other on a ground level. This will make it where they all fill up at the same time and the water can be used from all the totes at once. Because the greenhouse doesn't really have a roof edge, we are getting creative in how we collect rainwater. There is a gutter, of course, but somehow we have to make sure the water goes into the gutter and not beside it. But we have a plan.
You may be wondering why I'm still doing this project in the dark, and that is because in the next 2 days, starting tonight, it's supposed to rain a ton, like at least 2.5 inches, but I feel like it could be more because it's supposed to rain starting tonight, all day tomorrow, and the next day. You know, sometimes they say it's gonna rain and it doesn't, but if it does rain 2.5 or more inches, it will significantly fill up these IBC totes. I can't remember the exact math, but I think we could fill all 4 of these totes up with 5 inches of rain. So 2.5 inches is significant. So I'm just going to try to get these all connected. I have one gutter attached to the one IBC tote right now. The other side has to be connected on going down onto the ground and back up into the IBC toes. So if anything, at least this one gutter will be collecting rainwater when it starts raining. Wait, what? Okay, these 2 things are the same size, like they don't go inside of each other. So I'm gonna have to go see if I randomly have a coupling for that. May seem random, but it is possible we have that. I mean, not likely, but we have this whole box in our shed that is just plumbing parts because of the stock tank pool business and just like every water project we've ever done. You always have parts left over, so fingers crossed we have something, or else that whole gutter is not going to be working tonight. god. Oh my god, I have one. It's so crazy. I mean, I really didn't think I was going to have one, but we do have so many parts. PTL test. Oh. Wow, this never happens. I always have to go to the store. Okay, this is the downspout for the other side.
We've come a long way in bringing this greenhouse to life, but there's still so much to do. Next week, we'll be tackling the finishing touches and getting this space ready for the growing season. Make sure to subscribe and come back for part 2. You won't want to miss the final transformation. Thanks for watching.